Hi, welcome back to Out Loud. I have to apologize first. I was supposed to do a video on Friday to put out Saturday, and I didn't get that done. So it's the first time I haven't kept to the schedule I sort of set for myself. We're continuing today in the letter of First John in the third chapter. We're going to be looking at verses 13 through 17. And we read there, "Don't be surprised, brothers and sisters, if the world hates you. We know that we have transferred from death to life because we love the brothers and sisters. The person who does not love remains in death. Everyone who hates a brother or sister is a murderer, and you know that no murderer has eternal life residing in them. This is how we know love. Jesus laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for our brothers and sisters. But if a person has material possessions and sees a brother or sister in need, that person doesn't care. How can the love of God remain in him?" So before I get to this, I want to talk about another passage from Matthew 22. It's the passage where the Sadducees talk about a woman who's been married several times, and then they ask, well, whose wife is she in the resurrection? And Jesus says, well, in the resurrection, you are not married, nor are you taken in marriage. And anytime this has come up in Bible studies I've done with people, especially people who have been married for a long time, who've been married as long as they can remember, there is this sense of regret that somehow in heaven they would lose this thing that was the center and an anchor of their life, this person that they have devoted themselves to. All of a sudden that relationship would be severed in the resurrection. And that sense of regret, and I always believe that heaven is a place where we don't bear regrets for things that are lost. So that reflecting on that, I got to thinking about, well, why do people get married? Well, they get married because they want a special kind of relationship, a kind of relationship that you really can't have in a lot of other ways, which is a relationship that is fully trusting, where you can let yourself be completely connected with someone else in that very close, intimate way. And there's just not enough trust with everyone else in the world to feel the same way you do with a spouse. And so with that in mind, then heaven doesn't take that relationship that you have developed in your life away, but it adds to your experience that kind of trust and closeness with everyone. So the passages, and this is where we start to come back to these passages in John, it keeps talking about loving your brothers and sisters. Well, in the eternal life and in the heaven that God has prepared for us, that we can trust and love those who have been strangers in this life in the same way, with the same trust and closeness as those that we pulled closest to us, especially our spouses, in the life that we have lived. So I want to look at particularly two verses together. The person who does not love remains in death. You can't have that kind of relationship with the kingdom as God intended, with the eternal life that God intends, where we're all close to one another in this way. If you're still holding on to those things that separate, if you still refuse to love those and allow them close to you, if you're still pushing them away. And then he takes it one step forward. Everyone who hates a brother or sister is a murderer. Now that seems extreme, but when you talk about eternal life, you're denying them that connection with you in that hate that you hold out for them. You're denying the possibility of trust and closeness. And so in that, you're denying eternal life. I think in the end, we can say that we can't grant someone eternal life. That's something that they have to find in themselves, and they have to seek God out and seek Jesus Christ out and look for that relationship. Only God and Jesus Christ can truly offer and give someone eternal life. But there are many ways that we are capable of taking eternal life from someone else. When we proclaim to love God but hate our neighbor, we give a picture of God. Here is someone who's saying that they are a lover of God, a follower of Jesus, and they're proclaiming their hatred of me. How can I seek to claim that kind of eternal life if that's what a follower looks like? If I refuse to invite through my care and reaching out to others, if I refuse to invite, don't I deny the invitation of eternal life that God intends all of us to have? Thanks for listening.